welcome into another edition of Popcorn and Root Beer, your one-stop shop for all things movies, TV, and, well, everything in between. My name is Steve. I am your host today, and joining me on this show to talk the horror film, the horror classic, it seems, Hereditary, are two friends of mine, Jake Parry and Angelo Blando. Guys, thank you so much for being here. How are you today?
Living the dream. Still don't know whose it is, but it's somebody's.
I'm doing great. I cannot complain. This is my number one favorite movie of all time, so I couldn't be more excited.
Oh, great. I can't wait. That's actually very exciting to get into it with you then, because there are things that I think really work in this movie. There are things that I have questions about, and I want to kind of talk it out with someone who really loves this movie. But I want to start by doing something different than we've done here on Popcorn and Root Beer, and that is talk specifically about the star of this movie to start. And I have a question for you guys. If Toni Collette laid out a starting five of her biggest movies, what kind of NBA team would she be fielding? And here is her starting five. You got Hereditary, of course, The Sixth Sense, Little Miss Sunshine, Knives Out, and About a Boy. Guys, is this a championship contender kind of lineup? Or I have some thoughts, but I'll throw it to you, Jake, to start, because I got some thoughts on this one.
This team is making the playoffs. I don't know how big of a run they're making, but they're making the playoffs.
Okay. Yeah, I'd agree. I think they're like they got Hereditary and Sixth Sense are like the power players. Number 4 and 5, in my opinion, are kind of weak. So I think they would get carried by their number 1 and 2.
I think she's lacking some depth. I think the problem with The Sixth Sense is it's a one-trick pony. And once that trick comes out, that twist is spoiled. It's hard to go back to that well very often. The Sixth Sense to me is almost like Buddy Healed. Once in a while, it pops off for a 30 burger. But once you know what I mean? I don't know if it can carry. I think this is at best an 8 seed, which is shocking considering how talented Toni Collette is. But I think when Little Miss Sunshine has to end up on this list, I think you're in trouble. I think your starting five has some weaknesses. She's riding an ensemble cast in Knives Out. About a Boy isn't really something I want to hang my hat on either. So the top two really have to do a lot of carrying, I think. And I think actually Knives Out could be considered the number 2 option on this team.
If United States of Terror counted, I think she would maybe have a shot there. I believe she was casted in a show that's called United States of Terror. I know she's also casted as one of the main characters in a recent show on Netflix. Jake, you brought up recently when we were together.
Yep.
I've heard that she does incredible. Yeah, Wayward. I've heard she's really good. The show is fantastic. Just lacking, but she's great, dude. I think she's incredible.
The show was good. It was almost a little too ambitious for its own good. Yeah. It got a little big for its britches.
Yeah, it tried that whole here's 6 different perspectives and we're gonna make them all blend thing without doing it. Like I still think it was a great show. I'm glad I watched it, but it tried too hard to be something it wasn't when it should have just played into its strengths, aka Toni Collette and the kids.
I liked it. I just thought it got too big. But we're not here to talk about Wayward. We're here to talk about Hereditary, which did you guys see this in theaters when it came out?
Did.
Okay, good. Always an advocate for going to see horror movies in theaters where they belong. This movie got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, 72% on the popcorn meter. Here's the review. The consensus from Rotten Tomatoes is Hereditary uses its classic setup as the framework for a harrowing, uncomfortably unsettling horror film whose cold touch lingers long beyond the closing credits. Do you kind of feel like one of those movies that the critics really loved and the audience, 72 isn't awesome. That's not an awesome
it's actually surprisingly lower than I thought. I would have thought that it would have been in the low 90s.
I think I walked out of this movie a little disappointed as well when I saw it. I walked out because I was promised the scariest movie I had ever seen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was quite that. And we'll get into more about how I felt overall about what this movie was versus it wasn't. Jake, are you on the side of the critics or are you more on the side of the audience?
I'm on the critics side here. I think it runs into that problem that we often get with horror, where fans expect one thing. When you expect one thing and you get another, like, it does leave a sour taste in people's mouths for a lot of horror movies, especially. And it's especially with Ari Aster movies. Like, this is not uncommon. Like, he is definitely I don't want to say he's directing for the critics, but like, we see the same thing with Midsummer, where it was 83 and 63. It's Beau's Afraid is the only movies where the fans enjoyed it more than the critics. And so it's just not uncommon with the genre, with anything that has this kind of psychological element to it too. I feel like naturally, like, you either love it or you hate it, which will naturally drive down the fan scores.
I think it's also, like, do you guys remember when the trailers were coming out for it? This movie seemed like it was going to center around Charlie. It seemed like creepy little girl. That's kind of what people were going in expecting. And it took a real hard left turn or a right turn, depending on, how.
I think that did it some good things, though, because the fact that you think it's going to be like, so many scary movies have been about the little boy or the little girl. So I was happy. Like, I was relieved and more excited when I realized it wasn't all about Charlie.
Yeah, I liked that it wasn't. I liked that it took me by surprise. I think what drags this down, the popcorn meter especially, is that this is a slow burn movie. This is a movie that it sits and it's heavy. It's a very heavy movie without any sort of relief for the audience. And if you're not really into dread, like, I texted you last night, Jake, and said this, I forgot how uncomfortable it is to watch this movie.
Yeah, it's a good descriptor. Like, I mean, that is kind of Ari Aster as a whole, like, dating back to his short films, like The Strange Thing About the Johnsons, Munchausen, like, just the way his style, it's very much a slow burn, and it's always a great payoff, but you have to be willing to.
And if you know anything about feeling uncomfortable, go and watch The Strange Things About the Johnsons on YouTube, or The Strange Thing. That will make you more uncomfortable than Hereditary for sure. And it's only
way back in the day. Like,
it's only about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I remember it being very odd. So this had a $10 million budget, $90 million made at the box office. So good return on investment. Anytime you can, go 9 times over your budget, you're doing well. Toni Collette had told her agent that she didn't want to do any more heavy, dark films and only wanted to do comedies. But she loved the Hereditary script so much she couldn't turn it down. Made a big old U-turn, banged a Yui real hard on that one. She's like, I don't want to do any more. And then they were like, we have one for you. And she's like, sold. Amazing.
She's so good at it. Like, I get not wanting to be typecast, and I get not wanting to do the same thing every time. But like, when you're as good as she is in this type of show, movie, etc., like, just roll with it.
I also think I heard that she said she was happy she did it at the end. She was thinking it was going to put her in a dark place, but it got a lot of emotions out that she was hoping she could get out. She didn't expect to do it during a role, but she said that channeling that character actually allowed her to get a lot out. So it was therapeutic for her. Her words, not mine.
Actors are such interesting creatures to me. Like, you hear all these stories sometimes where they're like, I had to tap into this real dark place, and I had to go somewhere that I didn't know I could go. I'm like, aren't you playing make-believe? Like, I don't know. I did that a lot as a kid, and I never came out of my little, like, make-believe world and was like, oh, shit. Like, that was intense. Like, I like the actors who are kind of like, oh, this is just, we're just playing pretend. Like, I'm fine.
I get it to an extent. Like, when I get in, not like get in character, but when it's like, I don't know, when you're doing different things, like, you naturally can take on, like, hang out at the house and play games Jake is very different from softball Jake. Like, softball Jake gets competitive. He can be an asshole. Hang out with Jake, it's just like, oh, Jake's here. Like,
yeah, but like, so Alex Wolff, who plays Peter in this movie, he went method, and had everyone call him Peter the entire time. And I just think that's such a, like, and then at the end of it, went around and reintroduced himself to everyone as Alex. And I'm like,
weird.
I'm just like, oh, you're such a douchebag. Like, I just hate that. Like, I hate that so much, To the point that, like, I've said on this show multiple times, I hate method acting. I think it's just a huge excuse to be an asshole. And I think, who was it that was talking about method acting? Kristen Stewart was. And she was right where she's like, you never hear women being method. Like, that never really happens. It's always men being method. And they're always like, they're never good people. Like, you never hear of a guy going method when he's playing like Santa Claus and he's like, yeah, and I just went around giving out gifts to everyone. They're always playing the fucking Joker or like some like shitty person, and they're like, I went method for it. It's like, why'd you pick that movie? You know, did you go method Dustin Hoffman when you did Meet the Fockers? Were you like super lovey-dovey for like 3 months while you were being, you know,
That's
Mr.
fair.
Focker? No, you didn't. Like, you know, it's always when they're playing a dickhead, and it just drives me crazy.
That's a good point. I wish that, I wish more Santa Claus actors would be more method. That would be great.
I'd respect it more if they did. But if it's only when you're playing an asshole, I think you just are looking for an excuse to be an asshole.
Did Will Ferrell go method when he was Buddy? We don't know.
Did he go method when he was Ron Burgundy? I think that would be awesome if he did.
Yeah, that.
Just live as Ron Burgundy.
I think that one would have been funny as shit. I would have liked that. According to Alex Wolff, speaking of, the original cut of the film could have easily pushed over 3 hours. The cut footage mostly consists of more family dialogue.
I wish they would have released that. I would pay so much money to see the director's cut. I don't know why they haven't released that.
Oh, so you want the you want you want the director's cut then?
Where's the Aster cut? When it comes to Midsummer, I think the director's cut is so much better than the theatrical release, because in the director's cut, there's so much more character development that was really important. Well, for the boyfriend to Florence Pugh's character, I don't even remember her name, but it was so much better. And I think that I personally have a very high rating for Hereditary, but yeah, I want more of it. I would take a 3-hour cut. Are you kidding me?
You and Ari Aster both want that, because there's a lot of controversy surrounding the editing of this film. Basically, the financier of the movie had final cut privileges instead of Ari Aster. So there was a lot of controversy about it. Nobody really knew about it until Lars Knudsen was doing an interview in 2023 and brought it up. So this was like years after the movie came out that people didn't even know this was a thing. And basically what he said was that Ari's just going to sit back and wait until he can do a director's cut of this. And he's very much waiting for it. And that's why Ari Aster and Knudsen actually made their own production company, was because he was like, I'm never dealing with this again.
Wait, honestly, will there ever be a release, do you think?
I think there will.
I think we'd probably get like a 10-year anniversary type.
Yeah, we're probably a few years, like 2 years away from getting a real solid director's cut out of this. I personally don't think producers should ever get to say what gets cut and what doesn't get cut from the film. Yeah. If you're a money man, I think you should just be a money man and just sit back and be quiet.
Yeah, if you're saying, I trust you, I want to make your movie, you should be making your movie.
Ari Aster's first like theatrical release, so you can see why they were a little less likely to give him the keys to the kingdom. But if you're gonna make this guy's movie, make this guy's movie. You know what I mean? Like, trust that he knows what to cut and what not to cut.
Also, it's probably good news, because he's going to need some money if he continues down the road he's on. I really don't like the way that Ari Aster's movies have aged. I think it was great with Hereditary, incredible with Midsummer, and Beau is Afraid really just didn't do it for me. And then the most recent one, it didn't do it for me either. So
yeah, I was not an Eddington fan.
Yeah, Eddington was weird, dude. I forgot the name of it because it wasn't that great. It was like a fresh take. There was like, you're rooting for one side or the other. It was very fun to have like a hero and a villain type, but the movie was empty. I didn't like it because I felt like it was a little bit of like a coward's way out with that one. I felt like he played both sides of the fence a bit, and I'm like, no, I wanted you to like. You had to pick a side. Yeah. You had to pick a side. You can show us both sides, but you got to pick one. Pick a side. Yeah. Fucking why not? You can't just be like, both sides are annoying. Yeah. That's what I've come to the conclusion of. It's like, now. And riding the wave, if you're going to make a movie about that and be political and be controversial, I feel like if you're not going to pick one, then why are we doing it? It's similar to a movie that was produced by A24, I believe, called Civil War. Have you guys seen that? Yes. Yep. Same kind of thing where they they had a very heavy controversy like topic. They advertised it as if it was going to be this crazy film, and then it was about something completely different. The photographer's perspective of war. It was like, what? Why not just pick a side, lean in, and make this a crazy film?
Right. Yeah. You can't choose a political topic and then be like, I don't want to be political about it.
Yeah, it's weird.
You just copped out so hard.
Yeah.
Last little thing before we get into the categories. One of the trailers for Hereditary was accidentally shown at the beginning of a PG rated family film, Peter Rabbit, in Australia.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
It caused a panic in the theater with parents fleeing the cinema with their children. The theater eventually shut the screen off and offered every audience member a complimentary movie pass as an apology.
I was about to ask if a theater has a situation like that and they have to refund the tickets, does that still count towards the sales?
I don't know.
This is just a random.
Have you ever had a ticket refunded at a theater?
Yeah.
What happened?
The projector literally caught on fire.
Oh, wow.
So they had to evacuate the entire, like, our theater, and they basically were just like, we don't have another one, so you can either stay until the next showing, or we'll give you your money back. I had baseball practice, so I had no time.
I went to a screening of this awful movie. It was called Unfriended. One of the worst movies I've maybe ever seen. Maybe the worst movie. I think it's the only movie I ever walked out of that I was like, that was
wait. Unfriended?
Yeah, it's like a...
I like that movie. I enjoyed that when they're all on Skype.
Yeah, they're all on Skype, and then one guy like dies via blender. Yeah, it's a brutal, awful, miserable experience. But a huge fight broke out.
You should watch the sequel.
Like, I didn't even know there was a sequel.
Unfriended Dark Web.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, a huge fight broke out in the theater. Big old brawl happened all around me. Me and my buddy are sitting in the middle of this massive brawl breaking out. And they refunded our tickets, and I went to something else.
Wow.
Which was great. How about you, Angelo? Any ridiculousness ever happened that made you get a refund on a ticket? Have you ever walked out of a movie?
Yeah, I did walk out of a movie. I walked out of, I believe it was called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, with like Leonardo DiCaprio.
You walked out? Wow, out of a Tarantino movie.
I walked out of a Tarantino movie. I did. I couldn't get behind it. Another film I've actually walked out of too. I also walked out of Men the first time I saw it. And then I saw it again because I walked out and then I regretted walking out. And the ending was not worth it. I gotta say, the ending of Men was very strange.
Okay. That's the one with Jesse Buckley, right? It's an Alex Garland film, I think.
I couldn't even tell you.
I walked out of, weirdly enough, a Disney movie, and I like Disney movies, but I went on a date before I was with my current boyfriend to Wish. And it was promised as something totally, it's not worth seeing. The animation was different. It looked neat. We went on this date and we both were like, you want to just leave and go do something else?
Wow.
And yeah, so that's how that happened. But let's show a little love right off the bat. MVP of the movie. This is performance, scene, or element that makes the film. Jake, why don't you start us off?
I went with anxiety because Ari Aster does such a good job in his movies of creating this sense of anxiety that you get no reprieve from the entire time. You're just watching the movie, and it's the way it's filmed, it's the score, it's the material itself, but you just like, if you didn't have that anxiety throughout the film, like, you probably aren't enjoying it a ton. You're off watching something else. You're scrolling TikTok, you're playing a game while you're watching it, whatever it may be. But like, the anxiety makes this film build in a way where you're like so locked into it.
Yeah.
It felt like that was the best part of what I deem to be a great movie.
It was definitely anxiety inducing. It was very uncomfortable. You have that aching sense of dread the entire time. It's certainly like, I don't want to like say, because I like this movie. There were flaws with this movie that I had, but there's so much good to it too that I'm like, it kind of pulls it through for me, where I'm like, no, you know what, this is a good movie. Angelo, did you feel the anxiety? Were you just sitting there like?
For sure. No, I definitely felt anxiety. The first watch, I feel like I've seen this movie around 15 times. So my first viewing, I was just like, my jaw was on the floor. I couldn't believe what I was watching. The amount of like triggers that I had that reminded me of my childhood. I loved the anxiety feeling that I had.
Yeah.
Although it was, of course, uncomfortable. That's exactly what I want when I see a horror film or a psychological thriller.
Right.
So 100%. Yeah.
Do you want to give your MVP?
Is that so? My most valuable performance?
Part of the movie.
Scene, element. You could be like, I really like the way it was lit.
I would say can I give an exact scene?
Sure. Well, we're doing the portal scene, so maybe not an exact scene because we're going to do that one in a minute.
Okay. I would say I love how it was shot then. I think it's beautiful. I think it's one of the only movies that you're looking around the entire screen, almost the entire movie. Mm-hmm. And every time you watch it, you look in a different corner. There are sculptures from Toni's character that you don't notice in the beginning or your first watch or your second watch. There are times where you can feel like you're in the treehouse with Charlie when they show that scene because of the exact angle that they shot it from.
Yes.
So I loved how aesthetically pleasing the whole movie was.
It was gorgeously shot. And I do want to have you back at some point because originally we were supposed to do Long Legs.
Yeah.
And then we flipped, but I watched Long Legs in the meantime because like I thought we were doing it. So I was prepped. So many things that we need to talk about with that movie as well. So
absolutely.
If you enjoy this show
experience
and you want to come back, we'll do Long Legs as well.
For sure.
I gave it to Demon Worshippers. I really feel like they were doing some heavy lifting in this movie.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel
like, you know what? It's not often we get to give some love to the demon worshiping community. I think the satanic cults get a lot of bad publicity, probably rightfully so. But every so often, you got to give them their flowers, and they create excellent storylines.
Yeah, I mean, it's also pretty rare that you see a demon exposed in the way that Paimon is exposed in the movie. Like, they really show what the demon is and how it works. And without spoiling anything, like, you really get to know this demon. It's not just like, oh, it's scary and it's going to make noises and knock on doors and open windows. They're really trying to give you like the firsthand experience of Paimon. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we don't worry about spoilers on this show because
they've probably seen it if they're watching.
This movie's 8 years old. You know what I mean? We're good on that. But yeah, I just wanted to give some love to demon worshippers. I don't think there's anything wrong with showing them the occasional love.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially demonic worshiping nanas. That's pretty great.
Yeah, they deserve a shout. Shout out to all the devil worshiping nanas out there.
Yeah, I think they deserve some love. All right. This one is not about love. The Weak Link Award in the film. Who or what drags it down the most?
Can I got a really good one for this. Can I start this one off?
Yeah. I've never had someone so excited about this award.
So as much as I absolutely love this film from start to finish, there is a Weak Link Award. And I would give that to the scene where Annie is performing a seance and she has everyone put their hands on a glass and it's very uncomfortable. They hear a noise and then the camera pans from the floor up to her face and you hear this like, do you guys remember that scene?
Yeah.
And she has this like younger voice that it's not Charlie's voice. And it's not a demon's voice. It's just like a little girl's voice. And for some reason that was off-putting to me because I was like, why not just have it be Charlie's voice and then have Charlie step in?
I wondered the same thing. I was like, is that
like it's supposed to be Charlie's voice, but it's very clearly not.
But why didn't they have Charlie just get in the microphone and do it?
Because that's what I was wondering. I'm like, is that Toni Collette doing an impression of what she thinks the actress who plays Charlie sounds like?
Yeah, I wonder if they just were like worried that the ADR would look bad. But
can I give a co weak link that goes along with yours a little bit? That's not actually my answer. But Alex Wolff's crying in that scene pisses me right the fuck off.
The mommy crying.
And he just stands there like his body doesn't move, like his arms don't move, like he doesn't move. He just kind of sobs and like doesn't move. And I'm just like, there's no do something else. You need to do something else. You can't just stand there and be like, like, and that's the noise he makes the whole time. Like he really gets behind it. And I thought it was, I thought he was sending it a bit too much in that scene.
Yeah, he is my weak link. This movie would have been better if we had Nat Wolff instead of Alex Wolff.
I've always thought Nat was the better acting brother of the two Wolffs.
He's the better of the band for the Naked Brothers band. I'll give you that much. He was the icon of the band.
I know. I'm shocked he didn't become a thing.
Sometimes you just got to admit when you have it like a brother like that, who the more talented brother is. And it's Nat.
Yeah, for example, me and my brother, shout out Vince. We all know it's me. So sorry.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. I think me and my brother would disagree on who it is.
My brother's not the most talented one too. It's fine.
Me and my brother, it depends on what we're doing. My brother is better at sports. I can do better at like writing and being creative. There is a distinct lack of survival instinct amongst the family once shit starts going down. That is beyond the norm for horror. Like these people have zero, nada, zilch survival instincts. Yeah. They have no instincts at all. They're just like, I understand they're going through like this insane trauma, but they have like given up. They gave up like the second that girl's head hit the ground.
Yeah.
I kind of took it as Steve was scared of his wife. There is a point at the end where he says, like, I'm calling the police. That's it. I'm done. I think it took him quite some time to get to that point. But given the fact that, like, maybe because they're in the woods, they're a very quiet family, they're clearly kind of hyper-focused on Charlie because Charlie's kind of got something wrong with her. Like, I kind of took it as they were so distracted by, like, the shock of what they're going through that they're not prepared to figure out how to get through everything.
Yeah, I think it's also very clear, even though like we don't really delve too much into Annie's past. We don't really dive into much of the character's past, save for when she tells the story of waking up and she had covered the kids in paint thinner.
Yeah.
Like it's very clear that everybody was traumatized severely at a young age in one way, shape, or form. And I think when you're traumatized that young, your instinct is to like your fight or flight. There's a third one that people don't talk about, which is freeze. And I think that instinct kicked in for them at such a young age that they never kind of like had the opportunity to develop other reactions.
It's just like all of them were just absolutely fucking useless. In any situation, I was just like, someone be the hero. And I think this was to a credit of Ari Aster. No one in this movie was likable at all. I was not rooting for them. I actively was like, these people are kind of terrible people, but it was like that worked to the betterment of the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, we were rooting for the demon worshipping grannies.
Listen, we all, you know as well as anyone, Jake, that I love a good slasher, and I always root for the killer in the slasher movies. Like, unless it's Scream, where I root for Nev Campbell always and it forever. But outside of that, I want the body count to be high. If you're gonna bring me a horror movie, I want bodies. Let them hit the floor.
Shout out the piano wire.
Shout out to Piano Wire. We'll cover that soon-ish. The Portal Scene Award for Best Scene in the Movie. Can I offer you guys some nominations?
Absolutely.
Sure.
We'll start out strong. The intro with the miniatures that then hard cuts to the funeral.
Strong.
Starts the movie out with an instant sense of dread. You're not feeling good about it. You're instantly like, something's wrong with this. Miniatures are that's a weird fucking
anytime there's a miniature hobby. It's gonna get weird.
That's a weird job to have. I don't like that. I wouldn't marry that. I can tell you that much.
To be fair, I wouldn't marry a psychiatrist either.
No, you can't have someone therapizing you all the time. That's awful.
Yeah, true. I'm good on that. I go to therapy for that, and then I go home.
especially if you have traumas in the past. Now, if you had a good childhood, I think you're okay marrying like a therapist or like a psychiatrist or whatever. But I think
no, because they'll convince you had a shit childhood, even if you had a great one.
The second someone crosses their leg over the other leg and then gives you the pyramid and goes, "Tell me more about that," I'd be like, "We're getting divorced." That would be it. That would be the end of that.
And is that why everybody was getting triggered at your house when we were both sitting like that? You think?
It must be, yeah. Because the second I pulled out this, everyone started complaining.
Yeah, like, that's a quick way to get into a fight. Second scene, I'd say Charlie gets molly-whopped by the telephone pole. I just think that
pissed me off. Like, I get it. Like, obviously Charlie's character has some developmental defect, is like freaking out because they're going through anaphylaxis, but like sticking your entire body out of the window of a car to try and get air. Like,
I can understand it, because when you don't have air, like, and I've seen a lot of, I worked in the ER, I'm a nurse and stuff. So like, I've seen people when they're not able to breathe, like you'll do anything. Like I've seen people try to trach themselves. So it's just, you do stupid shit when you're, dying.
I just normally try and slip the headlock. It's normally just at jujitsu.
Yeah. I mean that, or, or you tap and you just kind of move on with your day. Annie finds Charlie in the car while Peter lays in bed and does absolutely nothing and just lays there with his trauma. Where was he going when he was driving? Was he going to the hospital, or were they going home? Because then he goes home. If you're already going to the hospital, do you just kind of continue on there and be like, I don't know what to do about this, like, help?
Well, when they show that scene and he's like laying in bed and he's like disassociating while she's going downstairs and discovers it. Pretty good. That was great. I was like, whoa. Like, I think they did a good job at keeping you in that feeling after the shock of Charlie getting decapitated.
I actually like it a lot. That's why it's a portal scene, right? Like, because I think, like, what would you do? You're 16 years old, 17 years old. You essentially just decapitated your sister by accident. Like, you almost couldn't have fucked up worse if you wanted to, right? Like, he would have had to try to fuck up any worse than he did.
Yeah.
Take care of your sister was his only directive. Now I'm going to get more into this in a minute. Or in a little bit. Because we have a new award for this episode, Jake, and I'm very excited about it.
I think I know which one it is.
Yeah. And he really did not take good care of his sister. Not only did he knock her into anaphylaxis because he was like, just get out of my hair. I need to go make out with this girl. Go eat the cake. Knowing that your sister has allergies and being like, go eat cake. Bad brothering right there. Boo.
But realistic for a kid that just wants to get high.
Very realistic.
Wants to get high.
It's just
wants to get high and get laid. Like, you're like, get out of my hair, please.
Stupid 17-year-olds. Steve suddenly bursting into flames, and this led me to thinking of a new category or new award that I want to like test run is the character who got a fate that they so did not deserve in a movie. He kind of got fucked over pretty hard. Because it's supposed to be Annie that burst into flames. He did absolutely nothing, right? Like, he did not agree to be with Payman. He was not related by blood to the original Nana that loved Payman. Like, and she throws the book away, accepting her fate that she'll burn alive, and he bursts into flames and dies.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, unfortunate for Steve. And then Annie saws off her own head, and then Payman possesses Peter.
Okay, so these are the nominations. Can I give?
You can give anyone you want. I like to give a series of them to be like, that's where I think it falls.
Yeah, I mean, those are incredible, because what I think this segment shows about this movie is that it's not a horror movie that has one or two peaks and then a lot of valleys. It keeps you up. Although it is a slow burn, I would say almost every peak that it has continues increasing in discomfort. So it's a slow burn that is still like giving you these hits every 20 minutes. One of those being what I would give the portal scene award. And I think this is an underrated scene. It's towards the end of the movie, I would say in the last quarter of the film, when we have seen Alex Wolff in his classroom multiple times now. And there's a scene where he like cocks his head to the side, he shoots his arm up, and he's very clearly like uncomfortable, making this creepy face. He slams his face on the desk, comes back and the whole entire class is like surrounded looking at him, and he starts screaming and bleeding out of his face.
Can you breathe?
Peter, what are you doing, man?
That's my portal scene. I think that was
incredible. I thought it was a good one.
It showed like truly how little control everybody was in the situation. Like at that point, like there's no good outcome for this. Like the demon may not have hold of him entirely yet, but it's very clear that we're getting that way.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a very underrated scene in that movie.
Yeah, I liked it. Jake, what's your portal scene?
Mine is the very end of the movie, him going up into the treehouse and basically just being like, "What's up? It's Payman." Like it's obviously not what he says, but just
no, but it has that vibe. I like that. It
has that moment where you're just like, "Yep, the good guy did not win here. There was no good guy, but like evil succeeded.
Evil succeeded, 100%." All right, blink and you miss it, gem. This is a hidden detail that's gold on rewatch. This one, I had to do some. This was me at my like film nerdiest. So Annie gets a text message from Archer Gallery and has an address on it, 372 West 25th Street in New York City.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, I wonder if that's a real place. So I looked it up. It is not. It's a real life address. Is an EV charging station.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It's not as fun as some of my other blink and you miss it gems. There weren't a ton that I was able to find, whether through watching it or like through the internet and then rewatching it and finding those little gems.
Yeah.
I will say there was a lot of practical effects in this movie. Like the chalk was done with a magnet inside the chalk and then under the table. And
that makes sense.
Upside down. So that was kind of neat. But do you guys have any blink and you miss it?
I mean, there's so many scenes in the movie where like if you're not looking at that exact second, you miss what's going on. Like there's one point where there's a cultist in the attic. You have one of the scenes, Annie is like floating in the back corner of Alex's bedroom.
I love that one. Yeah, I love that.
You have that.
That's what I like. Going back to when I said you're constantly looking around the screen,
right?
Like throughout the whole film, even that. I remember not even noticing that she was in the back the first watch, and then the second watch I was like, whoa.
Because it's so dark. You know what I mean? Like he did such a good job of keeping her in the dark. It wasn't like, I want you to see her. It's like, I almost don't want you to see her, but if you look, you'll be rewarded. It kind of reminded me of Longlegs, where the devil appears multiple times throughout that movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many little things like that. Like one of the transitions where it's like sunlight into nighttime around the house, and if you aren't paying attention, you won't notice that there's dozens of these cultists surrounding the house, and they're all naked.
Yeah.
There's little like words written that like you only get in a couple frames that are like, if you like read up in the story of this demon Payman, like have connections to his story. There's just so many little details. And that's one of the things that Ari Aster does so well, is those little details just are always like, there's so much world building, even if it's not in your face about it.
I agree.
I have a slight overshare with the blink and you miss it gem. My blink and you miss it gem is early in the movie when it's kind of one of the first creepy things that happens. There's some sound like droning that's kind of like hanging. And you see Annie go into her like storage room and look through some boxes. She finds this book, starts to kind of think about her mom. There's some hints at her mom. And then as she's walking out, she like looks over in the corner of the room, shuts the light, and you can see an outline of her mom. Mm-hmm. And that's the blink and you miss it for me. It's kind of an easy one, but the overshare is that a lot of times when I used to be, it was like right after COVID, I was hooking up with random people on the internet using Hinge and Tinder, and Hereditary was my go-to first date movie. And what I noticed was some TVs, I know it's quite the pick for a first date movie. Some TVs though don't have the dark black like Ultra HD. So some TVs don't really even pick that scene up right. Because unless you have like a LED TV or an OLED, you might not even notice that she's standing there. So blink and you miss it, and maybe have the right TV for that one.
If you're cheap, you miss it. If you blink, you miss it. That just gave me a like, do we need a new category of, is this movie a terrible date night movie?
We used to kind of ask that.
What happened to that one? Yeah, like, is this a movie to lose your virginity to?
To be fair, a lot of times, I would say if I had to put, I probably had like 6 date nights with this movie, and I would say only
6 with this movie. You brought 6 different people, and were like, "You want to watch Hereditary?" And all of them were like, "Yeah." Like,
I mean, I have Payman tattooed on my arm. I love this film. So
Jake, if you happen to outlive Angelo, just don't go to his house or look through his stuff. Like, we're gonna move right along. Yeah.
I'm not getting possessed or possess me. I don't care.
I guess you'll be old at that point, hopefully.
Yeah, fuck it.
That's crazy that this is your go-to date movie.
Hell yeah.
So I'm gonna ask it: is this a good movie to lose your virginity to? We haven't done it in a while, but I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no.
It's not a great one. We're bringing that one back. I've unilaterally decided.
Although, to give people hope out there, to be fair, one of those dates is actually my girlfriend now. So, although it didn't work out with 5 of them, the 6th it worked out with, and now we're dating.
I don't want to give false hope. This doesn't usually work out if you're going. Like, horror movies are a good date movie when you want to I want to get close. Like, they act scared. It's an easy snuggle up.
This is too like psychologically.
This is like 3rd or 4th date movie. It's not first date.
Like, this is not. I think like the classic Friday the 13th, Halloween, those things, because they're sexy. You know what I mean? Like, in a way, like, there's people having sex. They're kind of horny. There's that natural draw to be like, let's hook up, because they hooked up and there's like a danger to it. And it's, this one is not like, it's like, oh, Charlie got beheaded. You feeling in the mood all of a sudden? Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, Peter just busted his nose wide open on his desk. This is hot. Naked grandma.
Tough.
She lost her head. You should give me some.
Yeah, there's a lot of naked old people in this. I think it's just very, very odd.
Yeah.
All right, McConaughey and Dazed and Confused Vibes Only Performance Award for, who was just there, like, not really acting, but kind of just living off the vibes. Angelo, I'll let you start.
I would say the naked guy that is in the door multiple times in this film, he's just kind of vibing out with his penis hanging out, and
cock in the wind. It's odd.
Rocking out with his cock out.
He gets the performance award for that one.
Yeah, that one's just odd. I gave it to Steve. I don't know what Gabriel Byrne was doing in this movie. Acting certainly wasn't on the top of the list, though.
It's a crazy casting for him.
It's so weird. And he looks like, we'll get to it, and I guess I'll just kind of spoil it now, like the What Script Did They Get award. He's just like, he seems lost, like the entire movie. Like, he's almost looking around like, what did I sign up for? Like, the paycheck better clear.
I also noticed in today, because I just watched it before before this episode, and I never noticed this, but there's a scene where he's talking to his son, and he goes, "You gotta do that because it's coming up," and he's referencing like making an appointment. Well, there's also a scene when he walks up to get Annie from her creating her little sculptures, and he's asking her a question. And he says, "Oh, it's coming up." And like the fact that he says coming up 2 times within like 30 minutes, kind of weird. I don't know. Just a weird script. I don't know.
I almost feel like this movie had Annie as a single mom originally.
Yeah.
When he first wrote it. And then was like, maybe I'll make it a full family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And added this like kind of.
I could see that.
Dad. Jake, who got your vibes only?
The teachers. Like, they were just, I mean, dude slams his head against the desk and starts freaking out and screaming, and the professor's just like,
I like that he did it once. The teacher makes no motion to go stop it.
Zero
Lets
reaction.
Him slam himself a second time. Big fan. You know what, though? That's a real, like, I'm not paid enough for this shit. Like, what do you want me to do about it?
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate when people are real about stuff like that. I hope that's why they did that. All right. This one's a confusing one, so there's no right answer to this. Jim Carrey meter for how amped up did the star of the movie get? I said full carry. We got Ace Ventura level insanity out of Toni Collette in this one.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I mean,
she ramped it up to 100. I mean, this thing she was pedal to the metal the entire time.
Yeah. Especially the scene where, like, the family dinner scene when she slams her hand and says, "Don't you yell at me, you little shit," or whatever. That is such an incredible, like, that's a 10 out of 10. When she sits down, her heavy breathing, like, that's real. That's as real as it gets.
It almost felt like she was yelling at him for real. Like, she was aggravated with him. And you know, maybe she was like, "You little fucking method acting piece of shit. I'll kill you." Like,
she was letting off some real steam there.
You didn't share fucking food with me because you were method acting. I'm gonna lay into you now. Fuck you.
How about the part where she's just like, "I didn't want to have you." I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I never wanted to be your mother. I was like,
I tried to have a miscarriage. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what? Traumatizing your child, and then it was a dream, but still.
Certainly a candidate for the Ethan Hawke Award.
It's coming. We're gonna talk about it. So we all agree full carry, full send, 10 out of 10, Ace Ventura level. All right. Better title for this movie. If I can ever find it. I can never find the overlays. Is there a better title for this movie? I have some offerings for you.
Let's hear 'em.
None of them are great. I think they're solid. Grimoires, because they have one. Hail to the King.
Yeah.
Something's Wrong with Charlie.
Yeah, a little too close, so we got to talk about Kevin.
I thought that too, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to let myself have it. And then Grandma's Ashes.
I think the only contender there would be Something's Wrong with Charlie. I kind of like
I have one more, and I didn't like it, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. Hand-me-downs.
I think, in my personal opinion, Hereditary still wins.
Yeah.
I mean, it covers a lot. It's a well-titled movie. Certainly not on Tombstone level of perfect, but it's good.
Plus, I feel like when a horror movie is one word, and maybe I'm wrong,
one word.
I love a one-word horror movie. You know,
Conjuring, Insidious, Sinister,
Terrifier. It's there's when it's
one
word.
I'll allow you a the and still count you as a one-worder as well.
Right. Sure.
If you're like the something, I'm like, I'll let that slide as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Except for what was that shitty one we watched back when we were doing Take Two, where Patrick Dempsey's the sheriff serial killer.
Oh,
Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's a bad one.
That's a bad one, but I love it because it's a slasher and it's a crap.
Yeah, if you like slashers, it's a good one.
Like all slashers have to be somewhat bad.
Yeah,
like Clown in a Cornfield, the perfect kind of slasher. Perfect. We will do it on this show at some point.
Do you like Terrifier?
I liked the second and third one more than I liked the first one. I think
the first one's a little dry. Second one, I couldn't even make it through the third, but second one I liked.
Yeah.
Third one I saw in theaters.
Terrifier 2 is the best of the three.
Yeah. I like that they took it to the point that they offed a kid in Terrifier.
That's the only slasher that I've ever liked. I never really liked any of them. Other than
I like them all. Usually I'm not a body horror guy, but I'll usually Terrifier. I'm not excited for another one. I'm kind of over it at this point. I feel like they've played them out, but we're getting one more, and I'm like, bleh. Do you guys have a better title for this movie though?
I had nothing.
I don't.
Yeah, it's hard. All right. This is where Jake's bravado usually kicks in.
You know what? Actually, can I go back to that really quick?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think this is a better title, but I think it ties it, and that would be Toy Story 6.
I like it.
That's my just neck and neck. It's not necessarily better.
Toy Story 6. That'd be a shocking entry, like entry into the Toy Story.
That'd be so sick if they did that. They just dropped Toy Story 6 and it's just a full-blown fucking psychological thriller horror movie.
I think every time you reboot something, you should have to totally drastically change how it's done in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Like do Jurassic Park, but instead of the bullshit it's become, let's create time travel and send them back to the dinosaurs.
I think you just need to lean into it being a horror movie. Like the books are horror, not this it's like a family dinosaur. No. I want people dying in gruesome, awful ways, being torn
make
apart
it
by
more fucked up. That's usually a way to keep it going. I think so too.
Would you survive the movie? No, none of us are by the rules of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, if Payman, we're male bodies, we're all male hosts, we're all fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Hear me out though. Do we technically survive if he takes over our body because our body's still there?
No, that's his body now. You don't get to keep it.
All right, fine, I'll lose.
Yeah, we all.
It was worth a shot.
None of us make it. The Ellie from Up award for one character death that would have devastated the viewer. Everyone dies, so there's really no reason to hang out on that.
Hear me out. If Steve's gone, I'm out. We can't kill off Steve, even though he's not the best acted role, not the best scripted role. Kill Steve and I'm out. Steve was trying to keep that family together.
But they did. They killed him.
I mean, yeah, but like I'm thinking of it like Ellie from Up, where like very beginning of the movie, gone.
He was doing a lot. I mean, he was trying his best. I think Steve in the script was trying really hard. Gabriel Byrne as Steve, not quite as interesting. Keeping the family alive. Just one Oscar. Who gets it? This feels like Toni Collette all day long to me.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost unfair because it's so obviously Toni Collette. I would ask you guys if I could do this. What other than Toni? Who is it?
It's Ari Aster.
It's Ari Aster for Best Director.
Yeah. I agree. That's a good answer, actually.
I could give you a few options. I would go Toni Collette, Ari Aster for Best Director. Then I'd go cinematography probably, and then sound design.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, I love the soundtrack. I listen to it whenever I'm like doing some work, drawing, maybe doing some art for stream. Like if I'm doing something that doesn't require a lot of focus and I can have something instrumental in the background, that's my go-to. I do it when I do a true crime story. Last night I presented a true crime story and that was my background noise because it's so perfect. It's creepy as hell.
Yeah.
It has like some peaks and it at times gets intense, at times it's slow. I love the soundtrack.
I especially like the sound design for me when I know it sounds so morbid, but when Charlie's head buffs into the telephone pole, it makes one of truly the most disturbing sounds I've ever heard in my entire life. You felt that.
You know how they got that noise?
Did they like wallop a watermelon or something stupid like that?
Yeah, they took basically slammed a watermelon from like a ladder next to a microphone.
It just the combination of her head like falling off her shoulder. It was crazy. I don't know.
That's a blink and you miss it thing for me as well. Like I didn't realize the first time I saw it until we actually cut to the scene where her head is on the side of the road. I didn't realize
they do not linger on it. It moves quick.
Yeah. It is fast. That's why I have it right here. That's a puzzle of Charlie's head and there's ants all over it.
That's amazing.
I gotta say this too before I forget. I didn't know if there was going to be a spoiler free or not. I guess I should have figured that out. But I also have this, which is a crew neck, and it has Charlie's face right on it. It's that exact screenshot right on it. And then on the back it says Hereditary. These were like very limited release from A24 and Online Ceramics. I was all over it. I have everything they've ever released.
And do you wear that in public often?
No, not really.
You haven't found an occasion where you want to wear the decapitated?
And honestly, it never gets worn because I don't want to ruin it. It's just like a collector's thing.
Yeah. I would hang that in a frame somewhere in this room. I'm trying to get this room to be all movie posters. Like I like my movie poster here. I have like one of Alien, like it's a print, like it's a canvas. It was really nice. So
you got a popcorn machine behind you too?
I do. Look at
that.
Yeah.
I just have Pokemon cards.
Yeah, Jake.
Incredible.
Jake's addictions.
And a picture. That's a picture of a raccoon. You just never get to actually see that it's a raccoon.
I know. I always wondered what it was. Okay. What? Oh, look at him. All right. We're going to my favorite category. Is this movie better with Gwenyth Paltrow, Joe Peche, Adam Sandler, Viola Davis, Nick Offerman, or Jim Carrey? The rule of the category is you have to pick one to add to this movie.
I got one.
Add, not replace.
You can replace. It's usually
you can replace
or add. Yeah.
Hear me out. What if we replaced Joan with Joe Peche?
Joe Peche being the friend at the grief.
I love it.
He does.
Now is he like full Joe Peche? Like
we're going
full heavy.
Yeah, I need my cousin Vinny.
Like the whole
Louis,
nine.
give me a fucking chalkboard. Remember your fucking chalkboard? Come on, let's do this, Louis. Here's
like
your
the whole
chalkboard.
time. Yes, exactly. That would be him. Like, so your daughter died. I lost my son, and my grandkid.
Yeah.
And here I am, still functioning.
I don't know
day.
if that would make it better, to be fair.
I think that would make it amazing.
The medium said it's going to work. And I was like, are you sure? And she was like, I'm positive.
She's like, what's going on here? It's just like, shut the fuck up. Okay, let me show you what's happening.
Louis, no, not that. Write the other thing with the board. Come on. You know, I couldn't see anybody else really. Like maybe has Jim Carrey ever done a film that he was really in a serious like
number 23?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It's like that Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah. How did he do in it?
Very well. Number 23 is a mess of a movie. He's very good in it.
Yep.
Is there any way he would play Steve?
And you get to pick, so yeah, you can have him do it. If
but
your
do
vote
you
wants
think that would work?
I think so.
I had him. I came close to casting him as Steve. I went in a different direction, but I had it. I also toyed with the idea of Viola Davis as Annie for a bit.
I did as Joan.
That'd be really good too. But I wound up falling on Nick Offerman as Steve. I'm on an Offerman kick right now.
Yeah. I could see that.
I went a completely different route. I went with Sandler as Steve. At the end of the movie, when he just imagine Adam Sandler's voice.
I just would
like,
love
I'm calling the police.
Yeah, just come on, Annie. We got sick of this.
Most of these would completely change the tone. So I would say it's not better with any of them.
I think Offerman can go as dark as he needs to go and play Steve well. I think honestly you could have cast a laundry basket and gotten about the same performance.
Yeah, Steve's is a pretty easy character to fill.
It's an easy act.
Yeah. All right. This is another one of my favorite ones, and not because I love the category so much as I love to talk about why we have the category in the first place. The Thackery Binx Let's Recast That Role Award. Are you a fan of Hocus Pocus?
I've never seen it.
That's amazing. So you're gonna have to watch it. But we've done an episode on. We will redo that episode at some point in the future, far down the road, because we've gotten so much better at this since the first time we did it. But Thackery Binx is played by a human, and then he turns into a cat in the movie. And the human Thackery Binx is one person, but the cat version, the voice is a totally different person. And that's because the powers that be at Disney decided after they had already filmed and recorded all this person's lines that they did not like his voice or performance as Thackery Binx, the cat, and redubbed it. So they left him as the human form, which bookends the movie. But in the middle of the movie, his voice is someone entirely different and not even close to the same. It's an entirely different person. It's very noticeable.
Wow.
So this is the Recast Award. And I said Gabriel Byrne as Steve. But I'm offering you choices. Okay? And you guys can pick something different. But I like to do this for the audience at home so they can comment down below and blah, blah, blah. Nick Offerman, as I said before. Owen Wilson.
Wow.
John Hamm. Or Peter Sarsgaard.
Wait, so I'm confused. So they would be the voice of Steve?
They would just be Steve. I would just be
okay.
Just a full recast.
Ooh, okay. I would go with Skarsgård.
I like that one too.
Yeah, it's probably the route that I would go.
He can go dark, right? He's got that like kind of like, what are we doing? What are you doing, Annie?
Yeah. That'd be an interesting take. Skarsgård as Steve.
Yeah.
Or hear me. Actually, no, I am just gonna ADR. Steve is gonna act like Gabriel Byrne's gonna act out the whole movie, but give me Clint Eastwood's voice.
Okay. I'll let that one go.
Have you guys seen 10 Cloverfield Lane?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's John Goodman, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I think he would be an interesting Steve too.
John Goodman is a great pull. Such a good pull that I think in June we may have to revisit him as like one of the people we add to the Better With award, because John Goodman is excellent in everything. So, all right, we have a brand new category. We've never done this before. We've referenced to it. We've kind of moved in that direction. But Angelo, you're popping the popcorn and root beer cherry here, if you will. Ethan Hawke and Sinister Award for Are These People Good Parents?
Wait, if I'm popping a cherry, can I turn on Hereditary first?
Yeah, it's fitting. That was just awful.
Great callback.
That was amazing and terrible at all the same time. These people are terrible parents.
Yeah.
These people they're on the pantheon of bad parenting.
I mean, you get it so early too. Like when she Well, as we know now, like Charlie sees Payman and then like starts wandering off into the like prairie woods thing. And Toni Collette goes out there and she literally goes, "Are you stupid? Like, you can't walk out here without shoes on." Like, from the jump, we know these are shit parents.
Well, not only that, right?
Did she sleep in her room tonight, or did she sleep out in the treehouse?
She's sleeping in a treehouse, but it goes even earlier than that. Her mother wouldn't let her feed her own child. Right there, I'm like, what is that? What is that?
But dad kind of did a good job de-escalating the situation, and they, they were obedient in his de-escalation at the dinner table scene.
Yeah, but he's not a good parent. Like when they never should have let the 13-year-old go with the 17-year-old to a party.
Yeah. Especially when she knows, like, she's like,
"Are
you going to be drinking?
Yeah,
are you going to be drinking? We can't even get alcohol."
Yeah, she's like, "You're taking your sister." And then has the audacity to and then she blames the kid for obviously being in shock, right? Like the kid is going to have massive amounts of PTSD, or he would have if he survived the movie. He obviously doesn't. So no PTSD for him. But these people are just in the absolute Mount Rushmore of bad parenting. Like masterclass of how not to raise your child.
I would give Steve I wouldn't give Steve Ethan Hawke.
Steve's in a borderline loveless marriage, so he's got other stuff going on that I think he needed to he was like, "I'm just kind of checked out on this entire thing. We got a weird daughter. Our son's not my favorite kind of person, and my wife just apparently doesn't like me that much because she's like, "I'm going to the movies." I'm like,
yeah.
How often is this woman going to the movies without you, dude?
Yeah, like you're not even going to ask what movie. Are you going to say, "Do you want me to come with you?"
Yeah. Oh, well, what movie? I'd love to see it.
Bring me home some popcorn.
Yeah, nothing. Something. Not even like a have fun. He's like, "All right, meh."
He wants to fucking die the whole time.
Yeah, he was checked out. It happens. The Sinners shot of the film. This is where you get to heap as much praise as you want upon the cinematography. Do you have a scene that pops into your head where you're like, it was gorgeously shot? What do you got, Jake?
It's just the still of Charlie's head on the side of the road.
Wow.
Like most movies don't have the balls to go there. Like they'll kill a kid, but you're not going to see like a dismembered child's head covered in bugs. Like, so to just have the balls to go there literally shows you that, one, in a lot of horror, the kids are off limits to an extent. The kids aren't off limits here. There's nothing that we're not willing to show or do in this movie. And it is well shot. Like to just like have the still at that angle, have it be, it's one of those things. It's like a bus fire, right? Like you should look away. We shouldn't be staring at this, but we can't look away.
Can I give some love to that scene as well? Because one thing I really appreciate, this is going to sound so morbid, and it's a morbid movie, so like just kind of buckle up for this one. I really appreciated how like fucking busted her face was on that close up. Like, because remember, she goes face first into a telephone pole. Her face would be kind of mangled.
Yeah.
Like if you get walloped right in the face hard enough that your head flies off, it's not going to look like just your head. It's going to look like a mangled version of your head.
Yeah, that's true.
Which it does. I really appreciated the attention to detail for that, which leads me to, I said the lowering of Charlie's coffin into the ground. It's so bright and beautiful that day. And it's this like wide angle shot of it, of like Annie just sobbing. There's these people around and they're all in black, but the sky's super blue and like there's like gorgeous landscape behind them. And it's just super like a weird juxtaposition that is so beautiful that I absolutely love it. It's my favorite shot of the whole movie.
That is a great shot. That is great. This is a tough one. I would probably say, even though it's basic, I feel like this is a basic pick. But they released a t-shirt that just the entire front of the shirt, it's a graphic that's like this big. And it has the still of Annie staring at Steve while he's on fire immediately after she threw the book in the fire.
Oh, yeah.
And he just came up in flames. That shot, like inside of their house, to see her standing there, like scared, and him just, you can't even tell who it is because he's on fire. That's a pretty incredible shot. I would give it, that would be my Sinner shot of the film.
All right. I like that. Great choices, guys. Great job on this pod so far. Angela, you're a natural.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I like to be on camera sometimes.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The LeBron James Decision Award for if this movie is any of the cast or crew's apex of having control of their careers. And here this one I'm going to give you options, and you just give me a if you think it is, if you think it isn't, we'll find when it is. Toni Collette. I'm going to say no. I think it comes right after this. I think Knives Out is when she hits like peak of her powers.
So wait, the question is, did this film represent their peak of their career?
Yes. Like, is this when they had the most, like, they could then go to a studio and be like, I want to be like, where studios looked at them and said, that's the guy, like that's A-list like level.
I think she was kind of already an A-lister in my mind. Well, no, she wasn't. I would say yeah. I would say this gave her that then.
It was this. Yeah. It was this or Knives Out to me, and I said I'd probably go Knives Out because you come off of this, and then you follow that up, and you're in Knives Out, and you're kind of a part of an ensemble, but you're really good in it, and people really love you in it.
Yeah,
and it kind of cemented her as like someone who had staying power.
Yeah,
so I would say yes.
I would say she was LeBron James. Sorry to cut you off. I would say she was LeBron James in Knives Out, but she was Michael Jordan in Hereditary, and Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time.
We disagree just purely on that one. Gabriel Byrne, I think yes. This is the only movie I can identify him from. It's the only thing I know him from.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, there's an award later in the show that we give out, and this was my choice for him.
Yeah, I think
like I'm looking through his filmography, I was like, oh, he has been in a lot of things that I've seen. Still don't know who that dude is.
Yeah. Alex Wolff, I have yes. This is the peak of him because then he does Old, and that sucked, and that was bad. And
I said no. I said it was the Naked Brothers Band TV show.
I'm gonna have to go with Jake there. He peaked in the Naked Brothers Band, and that was.
But do you think that's when he was most known?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over this, really?
People know Nat Wolff. They don't know Alex Wolff. It took me 25 minutes into the movie to realize it wasn't Nat Wolff.
Yeah, so many people don't really realize that Alex Wolff like wasn't the cool guy, and like they think it's Nat. Nat gets the credibility. Obviously, if you look the movie up, you'll know. But I think as a fun answer, I'm going to go with Naked Brothers Band.
Okay. Beheadings in movies.
Wow, what are other movies that have beheadings?
I have that. So the one I think is the peak of it is Seven. Gwenyth Paltrow's head in a box.
Also, like Casino, maybe had a beheading.
Do they behead someone in Casino?
They put someone's head in a vice. I don't remember if they.
I mean, Game of Thrones would probably be up there as well.
Yeah.
Ned Stark gets beheaded, and that was a.
I mean, definitely yes for this film, though.
You think this was the peak? You think this is as popular as beheadings ever were?
I would say, yeah, to my knowledge, I would say this is pretty much like, how are you even going to do it again after this and not be compared to Hereditary? You know?
I still think people are like, what's in the box? Like so much that it's like, I just feel like Seven's still the king or Ned Stark. And then this. I think it's close.
Can I
haven't seen
Sleepy
Seven,
Hollow?
so.
Oh, Sleepy Hollow is a great one too. Headless Horseman, chops off heads.
Yeah. The comedic answer would be Tropic Thunder, where he takes the guy, the director accidentally gets blown up by real explosives.
I don't know if I would count it as a beheading because
he
he
ain't
blows up.
Anymore.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have anything anymore. There's no bomb.
Yeah, but it's a bomb that blows his head off.
Yeah, he doesn't die by beheading. He blows up. Go from background extra to part of the main cast by joining the IBT Entertainment Family. The IBT Entertainment Family is free to join, and it is full of movie lovers like you. You will get access to our analysts and memorabilia giveaways for no cost. If you want access to our full betting cards, the betting model, and all contests, you can upgrade for $3.99 a month or $36 for the full year. But you can get in right now and still be a part of the Survivor 50 contest. It is free to join. Again, if you want to upgrade and get access to the models and more of the contests and more of the giveaways, $3.99 a month or $36 for the full year. Hope to see you there. Payman, right. King of Hell.
I don't know if there's another Payman movie to my knowledge.
Yes, I just wanted to put him in there. I wanted to give it.
Yes.
I wanted to give it a some sort of just dessert for Payman. All right, let's move on to the John M. Chu Award for if this movie is too long.
No,
I don't think so.
I also don't think so. It's a 2-hour flat. That seems about right. There's a little bit of fat you could trim, but not much. I would let that ride. The 15 minutes of lame. The part of the movie that is best for a pee break or is skippable doesn't actually have to be 15 minutes, but it just, was kind of punny and I liked it. I said Peter chatting with anyone at school does nothing for me. I don't care about what he has to say with his friends.
I kind of thought it was funny when they had that scene where they're smoking weed
Under the
and they
bleachers.
mentioned like, I want a fucking stupid princess girlfriend, bro. Like, I kind of like that scene. But
I think I'm having a reaction.
A spot that you could take a piss during.
I would say the first time Annie goes to the support group.
Really? The trauma dumps?
Yeah. We know she's it's one of those things where we know she's traumatized, right?
You don't take up miniatures if you're a well-adjusted human being.
Well, then we know her mom died. We have so much lead up to that point.
I think
if I'm picking a spot in the movie to go to the bathroom, it's probably that.
I think that's a solid one.
I would have said specifically the scene where Annie walks out and finds Joan in the parking lot. You have to see the seance, but I don't think you have to hear that conversation. So if you could run and take a piss in a minute and a half, you don't really need that scene.
Okay, if a minute and a half long, if you can make it.
Yeah.
if you can tell the girl that you're with, hang on a minute and a half, I'll be right back. you can run off right at that moment. The trade deadline deal award for one actor or role that the movie could have brought in that would have made it an award contender. Jake, start us out.
A good father. A more of an involved father.
Either for Annie or for the children in this, for Peter and Charlie. One way or the other, I think this works out better for all of them.
I also wouldn't have hated to actually see more some of the dynamic of life before. I think her name is Ellen, her mother's name, before Ellen dies.
Doesn't sound like she was a very good hang. Sounds like she was a real bummer.
Maybe. But give me 5 minutes at the beginning of the movie with her, they're living their life with her.
Maybe one of those home video montages.
Yeah.
I would say maybe a friend for Charlie before she gets beheaded to give you a little bit more feeling for Charlie. I think I do feel bad for her in the beginning of the movie.
I hope so. It's not like she had an easy life and then she's beheaded by a telephone pole. I feel like she kind of drew the shorts. And Angelo's like, yeah, but she didn't really have many friends. And I don't know, did we really lose anything when she got beheaded? Or do I have to stop what I'm doing with this girl that I'm with? Or can I continue?
I would have liked to see Charlie getting it socially for a scene.
Yeah. It would have been cool if we got a scene even of her at the party. Even if it was very clearly the pity conversation of you see that loner at the party and you go up to them just so they're not
something to give me a little bit more
a
little more grab.
One of those Rachel Lee Cook took off her glasses and has the pretty girl at the party moments. It didn't change anything at all, but for some reason everyone's nice to her.
Yeah,
that would be nice. I actually made a trade. I offered a real trade. I said you offer Gabriel Byrne and Alex Wolff for Nick Offerman and Nick Robinson.
Wow. I loved Alex Wolff in this movie. I don't know if I could see anyone else doing it. I got to give the guy credit there. Other than Nat.
I didn't like him in this movie. I feel like, and I swear I didn't dislike this movie. I actually really enjoy it. And I'll justify myself again later on because the final grade comes out and everyone always thinks I hate the movies that they pick. But
I actually am so shocked that he went from this to a small role in A Quiet Place and then Old being a main character, because I feel like he deserved something better, or Old should have just been better. Maybe I'm angry at Old because I thought it sucked shit.
Alex Wolff to me is Catherine Newton. He's the boy version of Catherine Newton. I don't like either of them. Anything they're in, I think they make worse. I don't know why. I just don't like their performances.
Yeah, I hope to see him do something again. with maybe Ari Aster or.
I would like to see him bag groceries. Like, I don't know. I'm not sold on Alex Wolff, and maybe I'll be proven wrong. But like Catherine Newton's in the new Ready or Not. I went from Knives Out to Now You See Me to Ready or Not. So Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Catherine Newton's in it, and I swear to God, she makes the movie like insanely worse. Like and no movie has she been in where I'm like, that movie really needed Catherine Newton in it. Like Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania made it infinitely worse. She made the Abigail movie. I thought she made it worse. I just think she drags down, and Alex Wolff to me is like that kind of actor where I'm just like, I don't like it.
That's fair. That's fair.
It happens.
It certainly does. And normally I'm pretty loving to all actors.
You're a lot nicer than I am usually.
I usually am. Like this movie happened to hit on like one of like 4 actors that I'm like, it's like Jared Leto, Vin Diesel, Alex Wolff, and Catherine Newton. And like that's really the list of people I can't stand.
Vin Diesel, I'm with you on.
Vin Diesel, I can't stand anything. It pisses me off in no way. Like I'm just so mad about it. It like makes my blood boil every time I see him on screen. He's good as Groot, but like no one could screw that up. What script did they get award for an actor who's in an entirely different movie? It's fine if there's no answer to this one. I did give it to Gabriel Byrne.
Yeah, same.
It just seems like he signed up for something that he didn't end up getting, which makes sense because I think this movie originally Ari Aster was like, oh, this was supposed to be just a family drama that turned into a horror movie. And I'm like, it looks like Gabriel Byrne signed up for this when it was a family drama, and then it turned into a horror kind of under his feet. And he was like, I don't know what to give you for this.
Yeah, I'm with you on
that. He gets set on fire.
Yeah.
He just stands there.
He maybe like, I guess he played the character well. It just seems like he genuinely had the same amount of interest in his own fucking family and movie as Steve did. Like, I feel like I would believe that he didn't really care for that.
I think he got lit on fire, and some part of his character was like, thank God it's over.
Yeah.
I feel like so him and Alex Wolff got cast basically at the same time. I feel like they probably had a conversation, and Gabriel Byrne was like, well, Alex, if you're doing it, I guess I'll do it too.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I can see that.
That makes sense. All right, let's go to the 12 on 18 Tin Cup Award for surprising decision by filmmakers. Beheading a child feels like the layup answer. Charlie getting absolutely just crushed by that telephone pole.
Yeah. I also think it's surprising to have Alex or Peter slam his face against the desk and really do it. Like he really did that.
Yeah.
So I would say that's another shocking one. Hey, slam your face. Maybe they were pissed off about him method acting because they were like, yeah, do it for real.
Yeah, bounce your forehead.
And
you think they were like, you know what? Let's do that again.
Yeah.
Let's reshoot that.
He actually did
like 2 or 3 times. Yeah, they were like, yeah. Like a little bastard. Jake, do you have one?
Beheading a child. Like, which again, surprising, not necessarily in a bad way, because like it really shows you that nothing is off limits here.
Literally nothing. All right, the Jake Parry would live in the Millennium Falcon Award for a prop you'd want from set. This is named so because like there's rules to this now. It has to be able to fit inside your house. And the reason why it's called this award is because I said it has to fit inside your house, and Jake responded with,
I'll live in the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. So it caused quite the turmoil on the show. I have 4 options that I want to lay out there. I said the piano wire. One of the miniatures, the chalkboard, or Charlie's head.
Solid choice.
So I love the miniatures. They did release the miniatures on A24's website. They had like 15 available, and I didn't get one. I'm very upset. I have the bear from Midsummer in a cage, which is like $700 on eBay now. I've gotten the Talk to Me hand. I have so many A24 things. I have the blueberry pie candle from Heretic right here. And this fucking sticker also
I like Heretic.
Falls off.
I do that on here.
Yeah, I would do that on here too. I have the book
you may be a
from Hereditary of the entire screenplay. I have so much. I don't have the toys. So I got to go with the toys. I want one of Charlie's toys so bad.
Okay. All right. Jakey, what do you got?
I'm metagaming it again because it's officially part of my personality to metagame this award as much as humanly possible. I want the treehouse.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
It doesn't necessarily fit in my house, but I can put it in a tree in my yard.
You can put it in a tree in your yard. You've successfully circumvented my rules.
Also, honorable shout out. This would be my tying one. There is a sculpture that they have in their house. You see a close up of it for like 5 seconds.
The houses on top of the houses.
Yes. Oh my God. It's like a house and then a bunch of dirt and then another house and then a bunch of dirt and then a flat with a house on top of it. I want that of like my childhood home, the place I lived at in Florida, and this. I would, if I like won $1 million, I would love to have someone make that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. That's cool.
That was my backup if Steve wouldn't let me have the treehouse.
Yeah,
so
that's
a
great
great
choice.
choice.
That's a sick one.
I'm gonna let the treehouse exist. All right, the drive-in date night double feature movie to watch with this one. There's no right answer to this. This is just whatever you feel like spiritually exists with it. Angelo,
can I start this one?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with Coco. I think you pair this with something.
I didn't think that was a wrong answer.
You pair this with something Pixar that reminds you that it is good to feel happy emotions too, and that there are, you know what I mean? Like kind of.
You know what? This is a good answer. I like this answer a lot because it's a direct contrast to my answer. I doubled down on The Misery. I went with The Witch.
Wow. Okay.
I think if you're in it, you just kind of have to be in it. And
it's fair.
Just I like Angelo's answer. It was a lot like my follow-up to Jurassic World with Cars, where it's like I just want to watch something entertaining and fun.
Yeah.
I'm just doubling down on Ari Aster here. You watch Hereditary and then you watch Midsommar.
Yeah, I actually did that in a theater. They did a double feature, and I stayed for fucking 5.5 hours. It was the only time I've ever done that, and it was pretty incredible.
Can I tell you? I just recently with my best friend, I went out and I said, "You want to do a like creature double feature?" And there were like 2 horror movies out, and I'm like, "Do you want to see them both today?"
Yeah.
And we did, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. I'm like, this is the best thing to do. It was such a fun day, like with my buddy. I really enjoyed it. I was just like, this was such a great day. I had so much fun. We had just enough time in between to like run over to Chipotle next to the theater and like grab a burrito and sneak it in. It was just an absolutely.
Midsommar is a great pick. A realistic great pick is Midsommar for sure.
Yeah, I like that. Good job, Jake. Hot take Hall of Fame, a spicy opinion about the film that needs defending. Anyone got something they need to get off the chest?
A hot take about the film that needs defending.
I said this movie is an incredible case study in the effects of unrelenting dread on a movie audience. It is one of the hardest movies to truly enjoy because it ends up making you suffer for daring to watch it.
I would say that's almost a good thing, though. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't even think you need to defend that.
Maybe not, but it's just it's like being one of the hardest movies to truly enjoy. Like it is so hard to like this movie because you're like, I didn't enjoy my experience.
Yeah.
But I like the movie. You know what I mean?
I think you have to be the type of person that is looking to feel uncomfortable, is looking to feel triggered and bothered. Like, and then you got to like that. So I do agree. Like your average, or not average, but your classic horror film fan is probably going to see this and be like, dude, fuck that shit. Like, no.
Yeah. No, this almost like brings me back to an award that we used to have, Jake, like best situation to like watch this movie. Is this like a movie night, a date night, a solo venture? We should put that back in because I feel like that's a good category as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. My hot take is that this is the best directorial debut of all time.
I disagree, but I think it's really good.
You said the best what?
Directorial debut, like first full feature-length film.
Yeah, I would agree with that. To what I could think of from the top of my head, what do you think is better, Steve?
Get Out.
Oh wow, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's a good one. But I do like Hereditary more. But Get Out is like right there. Get Out is freaking so incredible.
I could offer you Barbarian.
Barbarian, we just watched. It's so good.
Trying to think of other ones like
wasn't Terrifier?
Yeah, Terrifier was
Yeah.
another one.
But see, that's the point. There's supposed to be some like, this is truly a hot take then. If there's arguments for other ones.
If you can stand by it, then you can stand by it, and that's great.
Yeah.
Did you get to go on this one? Did you get to give your hot take, Angelo?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, legacy test. Is this movie still essential today?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no. I would say you don't absolutely have to watch Hereditary, but
I
think you should.
You can't say you're into psychological horror and not watch
haven't
this
seen
movie.
it. Yeah, exactly.
You've swayed me. I'll go with yes. Did this movie need more gay people?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
maybe we could have used one.
I think as I usually speak
moms?
as a resident, we've never had another gay person on this show.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just
Did
been
you think you were
whole
getting
time,
told
Steve.
because I had my nails painted, or did you know?
Jake said that you had a wife,
Girlfriend.
a girlfriend.
Okay.
So
His girlfriend was friends with my wife. That's
there was a lot
of
there was a lot of heterosexual terminology being tossed around that I was.
I see.
I was.
I would have taken. I would have liked. I mean, there was literally 0 gays. So, does it necessarily need a gay person? Like, I don't know where it would fit.
2 moms.
Maybe like, yeah.
I
maybe,
think it would have been great if Joan was instead a really queenie, like gay guy. Like if Nathan Lane was Joan instead.
Wow.
I think we're having a very different conversation. Sorry, my Alexa is like talking, and I was like, "Is someone in my house?" Because it's just me. My boyfriend's out of town, and I'm like, "Who's there?"
Payman and Steve, 2 best friends.
Yeah, Payman and I, we'd get on actually pretty well. I think we'd stay out of each other's way. Life lesson of the movie. This can be anything. Some people take it really seriously. Some people don't. I said, make sure Nana isn't in some weird freaky cult shit when she refuses to let you feed your own baby. Like you gotta start investigating.
I would say the life lesson would be maybe be a more present husband or partner, because if you kind of just brush off your partner, like going to movies and doing shit on their own, they could literally be conjuring up a demon and you don't even care.
Covering your children in paint thinner. That didn't warrant a follow-up.
Or that. Yeah.
Like you were sleepwalking. What did I do? It's like, oh, you covered our children and yourself in paint thinner and then lit a match. Like you were seconds from incinerating our entire bloodline.
Yeah.
Life lesson of this movie is know what ingredients are in the food you're eating.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Be careful of nuts. Did you guys have the peanut table when you were in like school?
No.
I think we're all too old, right? We didn't back when we were all in school, right? We just let the kids with peanut allergies die off.
Oh yeah.
Like we were just like, you're fine. Yep. You're making it up.
You could buy you could buy bags of peanuts at lunch in high school for me.
Yeah, you could, right? I remember that. Like, no one cared about the peanut kids. That was really unfortunate for them. That must have been a hard life.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to them. You're the real winners. Is this movie for the girlies, the gays, or the straights? This feels like a straight movie, but it has that unidentifiable queerness buried deep in it, and I don't know how to explain it. But there's like some quality about it that I'm like,
I'd say, unfortunately, this is for the straights.
Yeah, it is for the straights, but I'm like, and maybe it's Joan. I just get this strong, like, I don't know, like queerness pull to this movie, and I don't know where it comes from. Maybe it's Steve. Maybe Steve reads as like,
I'm telling you, 2 moms.
I think 2 moms has been a pretty powerful.
Could have worked.
But Steve, I think I'm getting a little bit of what you're going with there. I actually think this movie is for the girlies.
Oh. We've never had one for the girlies.
I know. But like Charlie, obviously a girl, the main characters, like it's very heavily a women focused movie in a lot of ways, even if it's highlighting like women not being the best women, best mothers, best children, whatever it may be. Like a lot of this, it gives like a retrospective on parenting poorly, right? Yeah. And I always think of mothers as the better parents traditionally. So maybe that's part of where that's like bleeding in. But
could you imagine if it was 2 moms, what if the other mom was casted by Sally Hawkins? That would be fucking crazy. I don't know if you guys recognize her from Bring Her Back. She's the mother in Bring Her Back.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Toni
yeah, yeah. She's
Collette
great.
would be crazy
Yeah.
together.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
I just made Jess watch Bring Her Back after we watched Barbarian at your house.
Oh
and my wife
God.
was like, you watch some fucked up movies.
That is so I would do that one with you guys. Bring Her Back, because that one's fucked up.
I love Bring Her Back.
You are welcome here. And anytime you have a movie that you want to do, all you got to do is like text Jake and just let him know, and we'll usually just make it happen. Like it can be anytime.
Oh
And
yeah.
it doesn't have to be a horror movie. I know that's your jam,
That's
so
my
it can be
jam,
one.
yeah.
But like if there's like a regular movie that's not horror that you're like, you know what, I want to do this movie. Like I'm trying to get Jake to do Dungeons and Dragons with me soon.
Wow. So
So
good luck to Jake. if he does
I
that.
don't watch it.
It's tough.
I loved it. I genuinely enjoyed that movie. All right, the You Can't Handle the Truth quote of the movie.
It's not really a quote. It's a text message when he gets the text from his friend, and it's like, holy shit, huge party tonight. Bring your dick.
That's a solid one. I have all I do is worry and slave and defend you, and all I get back is that fucking face on your face.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, that's the right answer. I went with the joke answer for this one.
Yeah.
Normally, I'm the one
same
with like
thing.
the super deep, like I find like the deepest quote in the movie, something like super touching, like Smoking Stacks, talking to each other in Sinners. And so for this one, I was like, I'm gonna grab one of the comedy aspects of the movie.
Yeah, I just like that. All I get back is that fucking face on your face, and I'm like, what an amazing quote. Do you have a different one, or?
I really was gonna say that one, so I'm with you there.
Yeah, that's a great one. Would having Steven Tyler appear in this movie have made it better? This is what
Yes.
I don't want a naked Steven Tyler on my screen. So
I don't even want that. I want to see Payman embodied as a human as Steven Tyler.
You think that's what Payman looks like as a person?
Like I want Payman to have, or hear me out.
You think he walks around hell and he's just like with like a scarf covered microphone stand?
Yes.
Screaming at the top of his lungs at 75 years old, and people are like, who's that ugly old woman?
Yes.
I would say no.
The guest answer is usually no.
Yeah, and you should know I try and like Jurassic World. I was like, have him voice all of the dinosaurs. Just give me his pterodactyl scream. Like, give me that. Like, I will find a way.
My buddy really liked that one.
That could have worked.
He really liked that one. My friend really liked that one. If this movie was an NFL, NBA, or MLB player, who would it be? I got a good answer for this, but I want to hear what you guys got.
I'm gonna go with this would be Jahmyr Gibbs, because it would carry, and it kind of did carry a strong lead of psychological thrillers and horror. I think there was a lot of movies that were inspired by Hereditary. A big one being The Lodge. I don't know if you guys have seen The Lodge, but The Lodge, I think Midsummer was a big follow-up. I honestly think Bring Her Back was a big follow-up. Like, I think that heavy-hitting family-style drama of a horror film, I think Hereditary kind of carried that. And the same way that sometimes Gibbs carries the Lions.
Okay. I like that. That's a really good answer. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Jake, you got one?
Yeah, I went with I know I'm probably the lone baseball guy here, so I may have to explain this one a little more.
Guess what? I went baseball, so I'm right there with you.
I went Geraldo Perdomo, the current shortstop
for the Diamondbacks?
Yep. Because this movie was like an out of nowhere superstar. Like Ari Aster came out of nowhere, and that's very much like Perdomo was like a if you know, you know guy for a few years for baseball fans. And then like last year was an MVP candidate out of nowhere, seemingly. And that's so it's like Ari Aster was like, if you'd seen the short films, you knew what he was capable of. But like until this came out, you didn't know who he was. And so this was like that version of 2025 Geraldo Perdomo.
All right. So if this movie is an NFL, NBA, or MLB player, I went with to follow up on Jake's Geraldo Perdomo pick. I went Mariano Rivera. It was supposed to be a starter, an ace even. It was supposed to be able to give you 7 solid innings, but the movie can't really hold up that long. But the last inning is absolutely legendary stuff.
Yeah. I disagree.
Yeah.
I disagree, but that's on par with what you've said that you felt about the film. So
I feel like this movie has maybe some of the best last 10, 15 minutes of any horror movie going.
Yeah.
I agree with Angelo in that, like, I feel like it builds, like it's constantly building. I would almost compare it to like Nolan Ryan in that aspect too, where it's like ninth inning Nolan Ryan is still throwing 102.
Yeah, like Verlander, how he starts in like the 96 range,
like
like when he was
92,
like
93.
Detroit Tigers, Justin Verlander, and all of a sudden in the 7th inning he's hitting 100.
Yep.
And you're like, why is he getting faster? I like that. We're gonna do this slightly out of order because I want to finish on one that that we're not gonna finish on because I don't have it in the right order. Let's go to the Hey I Know Them award for an actor you can't name but know from like 10 different projects. It's Gabriel Byrne for me.
Yep.
Yeah. Same.
All right, and then we're gonna get to the fun one here because this is like my other favorite. What am I looking for? What's the word? Category. The Armageddon. Why didn't they just train astronauts to be miners? An Armageddon award for questions that you need answered. So that's like one of my favorite plot holes in the world. But this question really messes me up with this one. Why did they keep that car?
Yes, I was wondering this as well.
Like, no fucking way are you keeping that car. You're selling that immediately. That car is out of your possession as fast as possible. Your child was laying decapitated in the back seat.
A good question.
The head nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Yeah. My question, how the fuck does Annie go her whole life without having the slightest inclination that her mother is the leader of a cult? Like that, that's fucking impossible.
Keep quiet. That's not something you can keep quiet.
She would have been brought in to the cult.
There's also the payment goes from like beheading to beheading kind of deal. Why didn't payment jump from Charlie right to Peter in the car?
Why didn't he jump to Steve?
Yeah, like why did Steve burn?
Is it
why did
because
Steve
he's not blood
burn?
related? Is it because he's not blood related? He didn't like carry on.
Yeah, that could be it. Yeah, because it's hereditary. It's only the mother.
If he was in Charlie and he needed a boy,
why
did he go to Annie before he just jumped to Peter? If Peter was right there, having just accidentally beheaded his sister.
I guess because it needed a male host. It couldn't have gone to Annie.
You're saying
it was already in Charlie.
It was in Annie. It was in Charlie. Then it goes to
Annie.
It
was in Annie. Yeah, you're right.
And then she like stands on the wall like Spider-Man, and then she crawls away, and then she saws her head off, and then it goes to Peter. So why didn't he just go to Peter right after
just
Charlie?
Go straight to Peter, right?
So when they show the book, and it's the highlighted section of her mother's book, and it says that he will pick the most vulnerable host.
I see.
So maybe it's just like in that moment they were the most vulnerable.
Kid who just beheaded his sister by accident isn't the most vulnerable host.
Well, maybe it would be because she was displaying more like outright hysterics. Like she was just fucking out of her mind, running around the house, going around the neighborhood, freaking out.
You think Payman was like, "This kid's weird. I don't want to inhabit that right now. Like he's not reacting enough for my liking for what he just did."
Yeah,
probably.
So I did find, I want to read through these questions because I did find an article of like the 10 biggest questions from Hereditary.
Okay.
So number 10 is Annie trying to stop Payman when she's sleepwalking?
I would say yes. In a real fucked up way, but yes.
What's up with Charlie's clicking sound? We do have an answer to this one.
I think it's just a tick.
Yeah, it's Payman's tick.
Yeah.
Did Annie's mother procreate because of Payman? Like, did she only have a kid to give Payman a host?
I think probably, yes, because she was upset that Charlie was a girl.
Yeah. Is the death of Charlie connected to the cult?
I think
because the cult sigil,
the cult symbol is on the pole.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, so, then that should have been a blink and you miss it as well.
Yeah, true.
That because I missed it. So I would say then yeah. So that seems.
Why is there literal writing on the wall?
The Satani, Dagony, that.
Yep.
Good question.
Dramatic effect.
The
Demons are historically dramatic people.
Yep. Was Charlie ever real, or was Charlie always Payman?
Charlie was real.
Yeah.
Well, because Payman was in The Grandmother,
right,
for a long time. That's why she was upset that Charlie was a girl.
Yeah, and then the last question is the ending meant to be literal or metaphorical?
What, that
I would say
like him with the crown.
Kind of metaphorical, but it could go both ways. I remember talking with my brother about like either way, and that's kind of why I like the ending, because either way it works, I think.
I have a question, because does like the body run out of time or something? Like, can Payman not occupy the same body for like ever? Because why, like, you're telling me that it took until Peter for this to actually like land the plane?
Well, yeah, that's fair. Like, I guess, yeah, why does it jump? It's not like they have to die and then it jumps in you. And then, like, will it be in Peter until he dies? I guess the answer would be yes, right? And then it'll jump to someone else?
That's what I'm wondering.
That's what's
like,
implied, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. So, questions that I think need answered. But you know what? Overall, I'm going to say this is a really good movie. This is a movie that if you're a horror fan at all, you should definitely watch. If you're looking for something that's off the beaten path, maybe if you're not a horror fan and you want something that explores horror in a way that is palatable, but not like, that's not a campy slasher. This is a great piece of cinema. Yeah. Like if you're a cinephile, I guess, this is a great movie for you. Which brings us to our final rating. And I want to reiterate for our guest, my ratings usually come in low. That doesn't mean I dislike it. I am just a notoriously hard grader.
Okay. That's fair.
I gave it a 6.6.
Oh,
that's low.
That's low.
But it's enough that I would show it at movie night.
Yeah, I know how your scale works, so I know that's still a solid rating.
See, I am like, when it comes to food, when it comes to movies, when it comes to anything, I am pretty easy to give out 100. When I love something, I love something, and I'm pretty like, it's easy for me to give out 100. So I guess with that being said, I gave this movie a 98. I think it's a 9.8. I literally love this film so much.
I think that's totally fair. Like, even movies I love, I've given like a 9. Like that, I'm like, this is my favorite movie. 9.1, 9.2. Like, it just I'm a little tough.
Steve goes with the Dave Portnoy school of thinking of, you can't give a perfect 10 because what if you find something better?
I don't like being compared to Dave Portnoy in any facet of my life.
You guys are very similar. Not at all.
I truly.
Can I recommend a just throw out there a category that I think should be added to a future show, maybe when I return?
We've never done that before. Yeah.
I'm so down.
And maybe it's seen as rude, and I don't mean it to be rude.
No, it's not. It's actually very exciting.
Okay, hear me out. What if this was a category? What would the sequel look like? Because I think there are plenty of movies that are just one-offs. And an interesting thing that I think would be to talk about on a movie like this what would the sequel be? If there was Hereditary 2, what is it about? You talk about it, and then is it worth making? Yes or no?
Yeah, like, should there be a sequel? If there is going to be one, how would the story be told?
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I like it as a flex. I like it as a flex category.
Yeah, flex category. That's good.
I like it.
It won't make it on every show because some of them are sequels that we're doing.
It would only make it on the ones that are one-offs.
But if it's a one-off, it's like, what is this? Does this movie need a sequel? And if so, what would it be?
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it. We just text that to Jake and make sure that we don't forget it.
Yeah.
Yep. I still have forgotten to remind Steve that we're supposed to rename the Weak Link Award again. But I gave this movie a 9.6.
Wow.
Oh shit. Wow.
It's tied for the highest rating I've given on this show.
Yeah, that's I don't even think I gave Wicked a 9.6. So
what is the highest that you've given, Steve?
I think a 9.4.
Yeah.
And what was it?
I think it was Wicked.
Oh wow, Wicked. Okay. I haven't seen Wicked. I got to see it now, right?
I love Wicked. That's like one of my favorite movies of all time.
If I love Wonka, will I love Wicked? because it's a whimsical,
I think if you love
fun...
Wonka, we may not welcome you back on the show.
He's joking.
Hey, you didn't like Wonka?
I like Wonka.
I like the original. I like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I
You
just
didn't
didn't
like
I didn't like
Chalamet's
Chalamet's
version. Chalamet.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All
no,
right.
it's fine. Honestly, that's the great thing about movies is that we all have different opinions on movies, and I think that's always great. I would love to have you back on and do some of these movies that you mentioned, even like Heretic or Long Legs, like we were supposed to do, like or a non-horror movie, and really see how you feel about the non-scary genres a bit.
We could go back and forth on Wonka all day.
Wonka would be a funny one to do. That would be fun.
Definitely bring her back. Long Legs, like I'm definitely down for Long Legs 100%. Bring her back
would be an insane episode to do on this show. That's an insane movie. That's a crazy movie that like I feel like that would be a 3-hour episode because there's so much to talk about and unpack in that movie.
Yeah, I'm down anytime.
Honestly, dude, just let us know anytime you want to. We're always game for this. There's no like set schedule. Like some weeks we do like 2 or 3 of these. Some weeks we do 1. We just try to get them out there. Sure. But that's kind of brought us to the end of the episode. So thank you so much for being here. We've reached the sad part of the show where it's time for us to say goodbye.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already to the new channel. We got our own little popcorn and root beer. Look at it. Look how cute it is in all our little movies and stuff. This is an old graphic. We have so many more subscribers now. Also, make sure you're subscribing to the IBT Entertainment Family. It's $3.99 a month if you want to get all of the perks, but it's free if you want to just come and pop in and make your opinions heard. And sometimes I put out little polls that ask people what movie they want to watch next. And the last one was wildly unhelpful because it was a tie between what movie they want us to do next between Pulp Fiction and Dungeons and Dragons. So that was just not helpful at all. But I wanted to see what the people said. But for myself, for Jake Parry, actually, Angelo, before we go, where can people find you? Because you have some projects that you like to do on your own.
I do, yeah. You can find me on Twitch Bad Blando, twitch.tv/Bad Blando, or you could just look up Bad Blando on Instagram. You'll be very confused when you find my channel, and I'm going to let you have fun with that. I'm not going to tell you what it's about.
Fantastic. Well, for myself, for Jake, for Angelo, that's a wrap.
Thank you.
Bye.